those people that, like, I've seen people for all of my life, or for a good part of my life, and I've never known their name.
Oh
And
yeah.
I see them, and we have conversation and we have mutual friends. I have no idea who these people are.
All
And
right.
now it's too late to ask them.
Here's my secret. We have now exceeded 1,000 members in retirement boot camp, all of
Wow.
which know my name and kind of assume, because I probably met them, that I know their name. That's my little dirty secret. I
Oh,
don't always
I
know their
would never
name.
assume that. I would never assume that at all.
1,000 people can't remember. Sorry. Oh well. Okay. Everybody who's on can unmute. We're going to kind of be doing this a little different way tonight. So it's going to be a little more of a chit chat once we get going. I'm going to wait just a couple more minutes for a few more people. And then we'll go from there. That way we can all chat. We'll see who shows up. A lot of people sent in their favorite movies and they may be too embarrassed to show up after what they sent in. I don't know.
Aw.
They can't be
That's
more
too bad.
embarrassing than mine. So
How can you have an embarrassing Christmas movie?
it's exactly.
I mean,
All right. I think we'll get started. I think a few people will probably be coming in. There are a few relatively new people here, so I'm just going to go over Zoom briefly, a little bit of a few things. At the top right of your screen, you have a little thing. If you move your pointer up there that says view, you can choose gallery view, which is the one where, you see everybody, or speaker view, where you only see the speaker. Since we're all kind of being talking, you can choose whichever one is more comfortable for you. Bottom left, you have your little microphone for mute and your stop video if you want to. And we don't want any stop videos tonight because everybody, I hope, is going to talk. And we're going to do this if we don't get too much feedback without muting people tonight. We'll see how things goes. If there's some background noise you have and you need to mute, that's fine. What we're going to do is and raising of hands. How courteous. Oh my God, her husband must have been a teacher. Yeah, Jill.
Yes, when we tried to boot up on Zoom, it required an update, which took about 3 minutes. So that may be why some people are late.
Yeah. It could be Zoom.
Or not. I don't know.
I think I use mine so often I don't ever get to have to do that, but you're right. It probably is the case. So at any rate, first of all, well, thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Capital Federal for the funding they do that keep us going, and will keep us going for another 2 years. We were just renewed by their foundation. Yay!
Yay!
And also the Sharon and David Katzman Fund, which is also helping to fund us, which is an endowment that they began, and to which just happen to mention anybody can contribute to if you feel like it at any time. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about favorite holiday movies. I use the word holiday because I think, if I read it correctly, there are 123 cultural, ethnic, and religious holidays between the end of November and the beginning of January. So all encompassing. So whatever that may be. And what we're going to do tonight is several people have sent in their movies. So I'm going to call on them and they can just tell us what the movie is. And I'd like to keep the discussion to one movie each. If we have time to go over a second movie, that's fine. But we'll keep it to one movie each and talk about the movie and what it is. And you can keep notes and then you guys, if you want, can go and check it out. And then we can maybe later in December when we're watching another movie, we can take a vote and decide whose movie was so bad we didn't want to watch it and we don't like them for recommending it, or vice versa. Whatever. Kind of loose that way. So I think that's how we're going to handle it. but I want to start out with two people's selection who couldn't be here tonight. One person isn't feeling well and the other person had a commitment, but they did send in a message about their favorite movies. And I do want to pass that on. The first one is from Lois Metzger, and her favorite movie is an interesting story because we have movies we watch that are actually not about the holidays, but we watch every holiday as well. And she does. Her favorite movie is Casablanca. And there's a great story about it. So I'm going to repeat the story because it just kind of got me right in the heart. A long time ago, her and her husband rented a cabin in the Ozarks for Christmas and went down to just kind of spend Christmas together. And it was a wonderful holiday. There wasn't too much snow and ice. So they watched TV, they talked, they sat by their fire, they could grill their steaks outside. It wasn't so snowy that they couldn't go for walks. Wonderful time. And this was so long ago, this particular cabin had a DVD player, which was a big thing back then. So they took movies with them to watch. And one of the movies that they always loved and they watched was Casablanca. So they watched it that Christmas. Next year rolls around, Christmas comes out, and they go, let's watch Casablanca because it always reminds me of that great Christmas we had last year in that cabin. And it became an annual story with them to always watch the movie. So today, still, it's her favorite movie. That one kind of tugged at my heartstrings, so I wanted you guys to know that. The other person was Leslie Arnold, who can't be with us tonight. She had two movies, but we're going to talk about one. Her two movies were White Christmas, and the other one's called Christmas Story. And it's not a Christmas story. It's not about Cleveland. This is a movie made in Finland about a Finnish child who was kind of adopted by his village. And they were all his parents and his and I haven't seen it yet. A little bit of the trailer. The storyline is he carved little wooden figures to give his gifts because he appreciated it so much. He didn't have a lot, but he did that. If anybody's interested in seeing that, she did send me a link. Maureen, I think you said you found it on Paramount Plus?
Peacock.
On Peacock. If anybody has that, I think it might also be on YouTube. I'll check it out, but I'll send anybody who sends me an email who would like to watch this movie. I think I'm going to. It sounds pretty good. Called Christmas Story. So that's the two people who were not brave enough to show up tonight and are pretending to be sick or busy. All right. So let's start with who's here. Let's start with the Berengers because they each have one. So they each can give their own movie. I'll let you guys choose who is going to talk about their movie first. But Jill or Phil, you want to go for it?
I'll start.
Okay.
Yeah, my favorite Christmas movie is The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. It is so silly, but it has so many parts that, I get nostalgic for. When they get to the North Pole, it's just a really neat setup. It's what I imagine the North Pole must look like. The hot chocolate, I got to have hot chocolate when I see that. And it's just a wonderful, warm, silly story. I don't get tired of it for some reason.
And I have to agree with Jill. We talked about this a little on email, and we both agree that as the sequels went on, they got worse.
Definitely. Don't do Santa Claus 2 or 3.
The first one. Stick with the original.
Yeah, definitely. Forget those others.
Yep. Okay, Phil, your embarrassing moment is now here.
So mine is A Christmas Story, which always gets this 24-hour treatment on one of those cable channels, TBS or something, and I will regularly turn it on in some random spot in the movie. I know the movie front to back, so it doesn't matter what random spot I tune in on, and my family will immediately protest because they're sick of me turning on this movie every Christmas.
One of the channels runs it
Yeah,
over
yeah.
and
Oh,
over
yeah.
and over, and
Yeah.
he'll let it run all day.
But there's
Somebody
so
needs
much
their
good
own
stuff.
TV in their own room.
That's right. There's so much funny stuff, and it just makes me laugh.
It's a great movie.
I noticed the community theater is doing a live version of it coming up
Yeah,
in December.
Yeah, starting
And
in
for
December.
those of you who are interested, that the house that it was filmed in is actually in Cleveland. It was purchased, and it is a bed and breakfast. And you are allowed to stay there. They do tours during the day, so that you have some restrictions during the day, but at night, you can go anywhere in the house and do whatever you want in that house. And the neighbors who have the dogs next door bought that house too. That one's also a bed and breakfast if you're interested. I don't think the dogs are still there. I don't
What
think
kind of lamp does it have in the window?
the original.
That's
The
cool to
original.
know. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Well, rather than keep picking people, well, let's do this one because this is a great choice. Penny is here, and her favorite movie, I'll let her introduce it. I was a little surprised.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
That's
and
my
of course,
that's
We
my
love that.
it's my son-in-law's favorite.
I
He
love
loved it.
this. So growing up, I always watched all the
Muppets.
Santa Claus, all the Santa Claus. I can't even think now what Charlie Brown's Christmas Tree and all that kind of stuff. And then this is a Jim Henson movie, and when this
Awesome.
came out, it came out when I read December 4th, 1977, and that was 2 days before my twins were born. And we had a 2-year-old, so the 2-year-old we watched it. I remember watching it that night, and he got up and kind of danced to it and all that kind of stuff. So my kids grew up with Jim Henson and the Muppets and Sesame Street and all that kind of stuff. And it's about a little otter and his mom, and she's widowed, and they live in the swamp, and they're very, very poor. I think she washes clothes, and he does odd jobs to make money. And they get they see a notice saying that there's going to be a talent show, and the top prize is $50. And so each of them enter the talent show without the other one knowing it because they want to buy a present for the other person. And it's just a really beautiful, story about family and, giving and all that kind of stuff. So, and so a few years ago, I bought it for my kids for Christmas, for them and now it's gotten to be a tradition now that we always watch it and talk about it. And so I love the movie.
Well, I doubt you're going to run up to Chicago, but they do a live stage production of Emmett Otter's Jug
They
Band.
do? Oh, okay. So that now that has to go on my bucket list.
I can have Jack send you the website.
I would love that.
I
Would
just
be so much
found
fun.
it,
That would
and-
just that would be cool.
That would be. Yeah, any way we can live our dreams, it's always worth it on the bucket list.
And it's funny because you mentioned that Christmas Story, and I'm Finnish, so it's like
Yeah.
I definitely have to see that one.
Okay. Yeah, I have it. I have to dig through the emails. I do have the
I'll look it up. I'll look up
Yeah.
after we hang up tonight.
yeah,
I'll look it up.
if you look up Christmas Story, and then either in parentheses or next to it put Finland, so you don't
Okay.
get a Christmas Story and you end
Okay.
up in Cleveland. The languages are about as incomprehensible in either Cleveland or Finland, I think so.
I don't know any Finnish words. None.
Yeah. There you go.
I have
Okay,
a question.
Sure.
Penny, could you give us that full title again?
So
Yes,
it's
please.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Emmett Otter.
Okay,
Jug Band Christmas. Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Emmett Otter was actually a cartoon that was a regular something, because I know Emmett Otter from something. I don't know, either did other movies or something that I saw it.
Well, it's
Obviously,
based on,
obviously with my children. I wouldn't just be watching that, of course.
I when I was kind of researching it today, and it's based on the Gift of the Magi. I don't have
Magi. Yep.
Magi.
And yeah, I know it's a different pronunciation. I couldn't remember what it was. And
The
Jim Henson, Kermit the Frog is in it, you know, so Jim Henson is, you know, Kermit the Frog, and Frank Oz is in it, and you know, it's just really, I don't know, really takes you back to.
So maybe it is a Henson thing production, and that's why I know it. I don't know. Any rate, that sounds great. I really, I have to try that one, because I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen that.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
All right. Gene, did you want to talk about one, as long as we got you going here?
Well, I had a few, but the one that kind of stands out is the original Babes in Toyland,
Wow.
which is actually,
Oh
I
my gosh, is that the
believe,
one with Annette Funicello?
yes, and it's actually, I think it's black and white. I don't remember, but anyway, I'm going to have to pull that one out and watch it. But I have several that I kind of watch. Somebody mentioned White Christmas, and that's always a favorite. But
I love that
I
one.
really enjoy Babes in Toyland. I think it's because I watched it when I was in grade school, and that's just kind of stuck with me.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that one in a long time.
It's a good one.
I
All right.
watched it as a child too, and I got scared of the trees that grasp the characters. And so any winter tree, I still get a little anxious. It doesn't have any leaves on it, you know, and it's dancing in the wind.
No winter hikes through the fields for you. I will make a note not to put that on the retirement boot camp. What we're going to do in January list. All right, who hasn't talked, who wants to go next? Go ahead, Shelley.
I have to put in a vote for the original Grinch, the Bela Lugosi one. I
Good.
just,
Yeah.
his voice alone is fabulous, and it's just takes me right back.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Is that the cartoon?
Oh yeah, the cartoon,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
the
Orleans
original,
one.
the
Yes.
original Seuss one from the 60s, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh gosh, look it up. It's
Excellent.
usually on most years once at least,
Yeah.
but you have to kind of look for it. Oh, there it
I
is.
will say that although there's been some very good and also very bad Grinches,
Oh yeah.
very bad. One of the funniest experiences we had is we lived in LA for a while, and when they made the movie, they built the town. What's the name of the town?
Whoville.
Whoville.
They built
Whoville.
Whoville. They actually built a Whoville to film it right off of one of the highways in Los Angeles in the Valley, and near Simi Valley, and you could drive by it and see Whoville. I guess it stood there for about a year afterwards, and then they finally took it down. I'm not sure, but it was very strange to at Christmas time to see one of those movies and then drive by that Whoville, like, oh yeah, that's real. It's right over there on the right off the highway. And I mean, it was exactly what they filmed in the movie, so it was cute. It was great.
The longer animated one isn't awful, but yeah, the live action are just dreadful as far as I'm concerned. It just really.
I agree.
Yeah.
I saw a version on ice skates that actually wasn't too bad.
Grinch on ice skates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you talking about the Ice Capades or something?
It was on television. That's when I saw it. It was done, you know, on ice skates. Everybody was skating around.
I missed that one.
All those Olympic skaters have to have something to do after they're finished with the Olympics. So you have to have those kind of events. Otherwise, the poor people, what would they do? You know, they
That's
can't
right.
all give lessons at little local rinks, you know? All right, where are we? Who's next? We need some volunteers.
TKP, we haven't heard from you.
Okay. My name is Tara Porter. I'm from Topeka. So,
Oh,
but I go to Lawrence a lot and I have a library, Lawrence library card. So I'm so thankful about this retirement boot camp. I'm almost a year out to actually retire. So hopefully
Nice.
to join some more of these segments. So
Nice meeting you, Tara.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Tara, welcome.
you
Yes,
too.
welcome.
yeah.
One of these days we'll meet in person and yeah, I think we'll be compadres. So anyway, one of my favorites is The Family Stone.
Oh, I love that movie.
Okay, so great.
I love that song.
The Family Stone, yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it's a great lineup of actors. One of them is Diane Keaton, who's one of my favorites, and Craig T. Nelson. And I'll try to put it in a small little box here, but it's about a family with 2 sons and 2 daughters, and they're all coming home for Christmas. And they're grown-up sons and daughters, and they don't all get along real well, like some families we know. But it is one of the sons brings his fiance, and then she invites her sister to come, and it's funny, and especially the one time with Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't want to give it away, but anyway, she's a riot. And we know that Diane Keaton has I think it's breast cancer. And so it's kind of a bittersweet at the very end, but everybody comes together and they have a nice Christmas. And then it follows up with the next Christmas, and they're missing one of their family. So the Diane has passed, but they all come together and they remember. They try to keep her traditions alive of what she did when she was alive, all the family traditions. So it's yeah, you'll laugh and you may cry, but it's just one of my favorites. In fact, I just checked it out from the Topeka Library. I'm getting ready to watch it here probably this weekend. So
Wow.
And
That
it's
sounds-
streaming right now. I saw it the other day, but I don't
oh,
remember.
is it? I didn't realize.
I don't remember what platform it's on, but I do remember seeing it.
Could be, yeah. So,
Okay, we're gonna, before we jump to the next person, one of the things I forgot is there's a reason this is called Dessert in a Movie. So it's not just because it's 7 o'clock and you're all eating dessert. So I don't know if any of you are eating special Christmas desserts, but I, for one, made
Aw,
Look at you.
is it real?
and I made one for me and one for my wife, knowing that Maureen does not like gingerbread. So I get 2 of them.
So 2 for you.
And yes, you do eat the head first.
That is so. Maureen, what do you have?
I have my peppermint bark candy.
oh,
I like
that's good too.
I want to know if your gingerbread woman is wearing a tie, like Jack
I-
says.
My gingerbread man is wearing a tie.
Yours is, but what about Maureen?
No, I don't
Maureen-
have one. Let's see.
Maureen,
Oh, I
my
thought you made
gingerbread
two.
man is identical to my gingerbread man.
Oh, okay.
Because they're both yours.
This week I made about 2 or 3 dozen banana breads to give out. So I was lucky to get a couple of these made and all more or less make variations on the theme. So they're all the same. All right, where are we now? Rita, did you want to, Shidi, Rita, did you want to talk about your movie? You have to unmute. There we go.
Still
Still
muted.
muted.
Still muted.
You're still muted, Rita. You're still muted. There
Okay,
you go.
45th, Miracle on 45th, always.
Mhm.
No, I didn't want to talk about it. Everybody knows about that one.
The black and white one, right?
Which
Yeah,
which
yeah.
version?
The black and white. And it's such a bittersweet movie, just touches my heart. I mean, a lot of that stuff goes on now. We just don't see it.
There were a couple people who are not didn't join us tonight, but they also sent that movie in as their
Did they?
favorite, the original one.
Yeah, the original one, always.
It's a
The
good
remake
movie.
isn't terrible, but it's not as good.
I've
What?
always liked the scene with the judge when
Yeah.
he's
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
trying to figure out how to get out of condemning Santa Claus for his voters. for his voters.
And they bring in all the letters.
Great.
Yep.
All right. Before I let my wife loose,
I'll
Cindy,
lose
did
Cindy,
you
too.
want to add something to it? You're there, but your camera's off.
Hi, Jack. I'm actually in the car.
Oh,
You won't see me because it's really dark in here, but it would have to be my movie would have to be White Christmas. I watched it every Christmas season that I can remember. And so it's always safe to wrap all my Christmas presents because I can be paying attention to both and not miss a thing.
yeah. When you've seen it so many times, it really
Yeah.
helps, right?
Yeah. And I love the music. I love the music. It's just a great Christmas
Yeah.
show.
There are so many good ones. All right, now I'm afraid I have to let my wife loose, and I've made her promise she's only going to talk about. She can mention one other, but she can only talk about one.
Well, I have a list for the chat for later if we don't mention my other ones. So it's definitely a long time ago we were at the movies and they showed the previews, and it was the preview for Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was the cutest scene where all the rats are running around in Caribbean outfits, and it's just really, really cute. And I just love it. It's hard to believe that Michael Caine most of the time isn't working with any people, because that totally, it's so perfect. And the casting is great with Miss Piggy and just everybody. But what I found really fun is we've been watching it obviously for years. They interviewed the head of the Dickens Museum, and they asked him what Christmas Carol he felt was the best one, and he said the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Aw.
And it's almost word for word. If you go back
It's
to
the most accurate one, he
it's
said.
very close. So that's ours. That's on like well, I can't say a loop, but because we watch other things, but it's on
We have the soundtrack
and the soundtrack, yeah.
on 2 discs, one in the house and one in the car, so she can never be very far from playing the music.
That's right. And we've all memorized it. And there's one song that says "One more sleep till Christmas," and that's become like our phrase for everything. One more sleep till your birthday, one more sleep till
Aw.
anything.
That's cute.
That's neat.
All right. I will mention, Maureen and I pretty much watch most of the same ones. We really enjoy them, but one of the ones, since only one mention of a non-holiday movie came up, we have a movie that's always been a favorite, and we watched it occasionally, but we really kind of wished we watched it more often. And I'm not really good at sitting down and watching movies in the house. I get a little restless, and I tend to end up in the kitchen. So holiday time is kind of my, nail my rear end to the couch and we watch holiday movies. And one of the movies we really liked turned out that some friends of ours in California watch every Christmas. And that means that allowed them to always watch the movie at least once a year, usually a couple times during Christmas. And it happened to be a movie we also liked. And so it's now on our every year list, and it's Galaxy Quest.
Oh,
Don't know. It's once again,
Well-
just a great movie, and holiday time is an excuse to watch a really good movie that we really want to see all the time. So we have progressed over the years. We watched regularly a lot of the traditional older movies, Miracle on 34th Street and whatever, and we have kind of updated. Not that we don't watch that, but the ones that we always watch are some of the newer ones like Muppet Christmas and Galaxy Quest and Santa Claus and The Man Who Invented Christmas, which is the subject we'll have in December. By the way, for those of you who are joining us in December, I picked that movie. I decided to do this in November so we all have time to watch everybody else's movies before we get to December. Because if I did this in December, we're going to watch the Christmas movies in February. So I picked that movie because I think it's very interesting, not only about the author, but about the concept of Christmas and our sense that Christmas has kind of always existed as what it is today, and it has not. But we also have the good fortune of having a just recently retired professor from the KU English department who's going to talk about a Victorianist. That's a real word. They told me that. A Victorianist who's going to talk about the age of Dickens and the person to tell us how accurate that movie is. And she's actually had just recently joined us in retirement boot camp. So she'll be a new member and also our guest next month. But that's also one of our big favorites. All right. So does anybody want to throw in another one? We have more time. We've only used up half the time, and don't let me start with Maureen. So please.
No,
go ahead.
wait.
Go
I
ahead.
just have one thing to add to the Galaxy
Told you I
Quest.
couldn't stop her, Tara. Sorry.
I know.
That's okay.
Sorry. One thing to add to the Galaxy Quest. We were able to see that house that's in it. I don't know if you remember, but there's a point where they go to Tim Allen's home, and it's a home that's actually one of these on national registries, but it's because it's a modern, well, at that time, modern California house called the Stull House. So next time you watch it, take a look at the house.
Yeah. It's really cool because it's an entirely 3 walls of glass that overhangs the mountain into the valley that today wouldn't have been allowed to be built because of the winds and the topography. And it's fine, knock on wood so far, but it could either get mudslid or earthquaked off of that thing. So walking out to the edge and looking down, I'm afraid of heights anyway, was a little bit, and their pool goes also right out to the very edge. So when you're on that side of the pool, you're looking down about 1,000 feet. Very interesting.
Wow.
All right. I'm sorry, Tara, go ahead.
Well, I'm not familiar with that movie, so can you tell me about it?
Galaxy Quest. Well, Maureen, you brought it up. You do a better.
It's kind of a takeoff of Star Trek, and it's got the characters from this old show like Star Trek, and they're all going around the country on these convention tours. And Alan Rickman's in it, and he's hysterical. He's kind of the Spock, and he's a Shakespearean actor, and he's constantly bemoaning the fact that he's, been descended to the point of going to these conventions. But
totally typecast.
Yes. But what happens is, unbeknownst to anybody, this alien group has been watching the show and thinks they're real history tapes, and they built their entire spaceship to look just like the one on the show. Wow. And they come to ask for help, and they want Tim Allen to be their leader because they're about to be destroyed by this horrible other group of aliens. And it's heartwarming, and it's funny, and it's just great.
I'll have to put it on my 2C list. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a fun movie.
And
it's hilarious.
I think I have what it's on. It's on Prime.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We have all these different channels because we live here with
Steal them.
our two of our three children. So we all share channels. So we buy 2 or 3, they buy 2 or 3, somebody else buys 2 or 3, and then we cheat and give everybody else the codes. And then we get like 9 different things to watch. So, which doesn't affect me because I, watch whatever Maureen tells me to sit down and watch. So not a TV person.
Does
All right,
anybody do the
anybody-
Hallmark movies?
All right, there
No?
you go.
We
Am
have
I
a
the only
sister-in-law
one?
who does.
Yeah,
I
one
do.
of our sister-in-laws
Randy
did.
does.
My daughter walks in and I'm in the middle of a Hallmark movie and she turns around and walks out. She just
But it's the same actor and actress in every one. It just,
But
if
it's
you've
just-
seen
yeah, I
one,
mean,
you've seen them all.
Doesn't matter.
it's it's just kind of mindless. You just sit there and I don't know. It's
We have a
Whatever.
close
Fuzzy.
friend, and I think that's the only channel she has on her TV. Or
Who?
whatever, the only movie thing that she has. That's it. It's just Hallmark movies. That's all she watches.
oh well.
I guess they have a Christmas in July thing too, so you can
They-
be like watching Christmas
Uh-huh,
movies
they
in
do.
July.
We have been known to watch the Muppet movie almost all year round. So that does happen. But how can you not love Kermit the Frog? Come on.
The music is Paul Williams. I don't know if any of you.
Oh.
remember him,
Oh,
but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
he did
That's
wonderful
forgotten that.
music.
Lovely
and so-
music, yeah.
All right.
I'm wondering, is he the same one? I'm thinking he did the music for this too.
Yeah, I think he did. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Seemed like I read that.
I think so.
He gets around.
He did then.
Okay, we did have one other person who isn't here tonight, but his favorite movie was Christmas Carol, the 1951 Alistair Sims one, which
Okay.
I have to agree with him is a really good Christmas Carol, that has all people in it. That's its one shortfall. It has all people in it. No Henson characters, but it is a pretty good one.
The Mr. Magoo version isn't too bad either.
That's true. I have seen that one.
Me too.
I think the
I don't think
worst
I've seen
one,
that one.
the worst one ever, was what's his name from
Kelsey
Frasier?
Grammer.
Yeah,
Kelsey
Right.
Grammer.
yeah.
Oh.
He when he left the show, he's decided he was going to do some serious acting, and he chose that venue. And I have to, in my opinion, it was the worst one I've ever seen.
That's because what came after was the Jim Carrey one, and I went with the kids, and I thought it was gonna. Even the kids said, "This is awful."
And the Bill Murray one, I think, is pretty bad too. That's
I don't think I've seen that one.
Scrooged. I think it's called Scrooged, something like that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I kind
Yes.
of like the
Oh.
Bill Murray one.
It's like from the
That's
70s,
because I like
think.
Bill Murray's snark. Yeah.
So this,
I don't hate Bill Murray, but that one just didn't play very well as far as I was concerned. It was
Mhm.
kind of snarky and unpleasant.
so this gives
I
me an
was a-
idea for next year for Christmas dessert in a movie. We can make everybody watch the worst Christmas carols ever made. I will be the only person on the screen.
I was a little late joining you. Did anybody mention Elf with Will Ferrell?
no.
No, that's a new one.
That's it. Well, it's not really new. It's like
No, I
20
mean,
some
new
years
to
old
to
now.
what we've been talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting. The New York Times a few weeks ago did an article. Usually in the first part of November every year, they'll list all of the holiday movies that are coming up in their arts and culture section. And the title article was "What Makes a Christmas Movie, What Turns It into a Classic?" And that they were saying that really Elf was the last classic that has been made in the United States. So that's, And that movie's over 20 years old. But
Hmm.
but it does take time also to be a classic. But it's always, I had never seen Elf until my grandson was born, and that was maybe 9 years ago. And so I was way out of it. And by the time it came out, but it's one that our family watches every year. I think they watch it more than the Grinch.
You know,
Nobody has mentioned Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
Oh.
Called Die Hard?
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
I don't know that
Another
it's
Alan Rickman
really a
movie, was
Christmas movie.
yes, you're right.
I don't get it as a Christmas. I don't really love the movies to start with, but although that was another one where the first one was the best one, I guess. But yeah, it's not one of my favorites. But boy, on Facebook, my friends are like, as soon as Thanksgiving starts, they start with the Die Hard stuff, and it's over and over again.
You know, I wonder, Cindy, because I remember seeing something about that same thing with the article, and I wonder if some of the things have a harder time becoming classics because we don't watch them all together anymore, because they're often streamed. Like I've watched Klaus and with my grandchildren.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It's wonderful.
It is.
But unless you maybe had Prime or you maybe had, you know,
Right.
so that might be part of the problem. I don't know.
There is a difference. Go ahead.
That was mentioned in the article.
Oh, was
The
it?
other thing that was mentioned is that what was appealing 20 some years ago now, Die Hard was one of the first movies that we almost became more British. You know, the Brits during the holiday season, the big thing is to read horror stories and scary mysteries and things during the holiday time. And our movies started doing that Die Hard was one of the first ones. And so now all of the holiday movies are like Naughty Santa and Bad Santa. And they're more violent and not very appealing, especially to a family. And so they were saying that it's going to be harder during this time that we're picking kind of less warm and fuzzy movies to develop a classic out of the group that we have right now. It's not very pretty where we are.
And as far as I'm concerned, a big part of that makes Elf great is Ed Asner and Bob Newhart. They're just wonderfully cast.
Yeah.
I think there's also something to be said about those old days, of which I'm old enough to remember, when everybody watched television in one room where the one television was, as opposed to everybody having their own screen.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely not, I am the kind of person that's like, advance and technology is great and it's fine for everybody to have their own screen. I'm not like harking back to the old days, but I think that's somewhat changed how you create a classic.
I agree.
You know?
I one of my fondest memories, Craig took a picture of us, is I had all 4 grandkids in bed with me, and we all had on our Grinch pajamas, and we were watching Jim Carrey in The Grinch, which I really didn't like the Jim Carrey show, that version of it as well, but that was the best that we did, and the kids liked it then. But it was the memory of just all snuggling in together and watching it together, which you're right, that we don't do that much anymore.
Yeah, I think that makes a difference.
Yeah.
If we want to go back to a real blast from the past, and I don't know if anybody remembers this, but the old Red Skelton show every Christmas did, they call it Freddie the Freeloader was in the cop in the anthem, and it's an O. Henry story. And the guy is a down and out bum, and he tries through the whole thing to get arrested because he knows he'll have a nice warm Christmas in jail. And it turns out at the end that he finally does get arrested, but it's after he's found out he's found a little kid or something and really wants to now enjoy Christmas. And of course, O. Henry is always
Right.
twisting stuff around. But Gift of the Magi was done almost every year when I was a kid. I
I
saw it all.
remember that too. It was good.
Yeah, there's about 1,000 versions of that, and most of them are actually pretty well done. Of the original ones, there's versions of them, but there's a lot of the original ones, and they're most of them.
Well,
are
I'm an
pretty good.
otter, obviously.
Yep,
Yep.
there you go.
Yep.
That's the otter one. Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry.
Oh.
Bad joke. I'm
Wah,
sorry.
wah.
Enough of that. Okay, we don't have to go the whole hour, so if anybody has any more to contribute, we'll do that. And if not, we'll cut it off. But I have an amazing list now. I'm gonna actually be forced to sit down and watch movies and not cook. So that means we'll starve for a couple days. But what can I say?
Didn't Trading Places with Eddie Murphy take place at Christmas? Wasn't
Yes.
that one and I think that was a really funny one. I really like that
that was
movie.
good.
And Freaky Friday, remember that one?
Yeah.
And Home Alone now and again has
Oh,
has
yeah.
some moments. That has some good comedy moments.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Do you know, I watched Home Alone for the first time last year. I had
Oh
never
my
seen it,
goodness.
ever.
Oh my goodness.
I still haven't seen it.
it's
One last one I'm gonna throw out is Prancer.
Huh.
I don't know that.
I've seen, yeah.
Prancer, yeah.
That's a recent one, right? Recent-ish.
Well,
No, I think it's like 90s, isn't it?
yeah,
Is
I
it?
think it's pretty old. It's about a Prancer from Santa's sleigh and he gets grounded. So,
Okay.
and it's not an animated one. It's with, real people and it's a real reindeer. And so,
Is that the one with the little girl?
yes,
Huh?
And
that
she's
one-
trying to save,
like-
she's trying to get him out?
yes.
Mhm.
Is that like
Yeah,
Randy
that's a
Quaid?
good one.
Is that
That's a good
Randy
one.
Quaid in there?
No, Sam Elliott,
Sam
Cloris
Elliott is
Leachman.
bad.
Oh, I did see
Oh.
that,
Yeah.
I think.
I think at least an homage should go to the original Charlie Brown Christmas because it has
Oh,
yeah.
some of the best music out there
Yeah.
and very heartwarming.
Yep, like
I
Mhm.
that.
posted a few.
That's
one
my
of
son's favorite because he loves the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's
What's
one
the
called
one
One
with its
Magic
name?
Christmas with Mary
Polar
Steenburgen.
Express.
I think that's pretty good.
Where she's very cynical and hates Christmas and everything's going wrong with their family, and it's a really good one. There's actually a Marlo Thomas female version of It's a Wonderful Life.
Really?
Huh.
A little hard to get. I think I bought it because I was like, I gotta see this thing again. It's not too bad.
It's
And I
it's
like
not
her.
it's not nearly as good.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm gonna throw out,
and I like Marlo Thomas, but
Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna throw out Polar Express.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's
Oh, I
a
like that one.
pretty
It
good
That's a
one.
good one.
is a
I
good
have
one.
trouble with that animation.
Do
It's
you?
not anything about the movie or anything that I dislike. I don't know what it is about that. I guess my kids would know the name of that kind of animation, but it's a little
Isn't that
weird for
stop
me.
motion.
Isn't that the one that's based on the actual actors and then they kind of
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah
Has
it's a
Tom
little-
Hanks in it?
Yes.
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 it's
Yeah.
the animation is a little creepy.
I don't know what it is, but it's a problem for me, and I can't even describe why.
You know,
I
that's funny. There's one that my husband just loves that I just cringe, and that's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I just can't stand that for some
Well,
reason.
Jill, you just gave me a good reason to kind of separate Phil away from my friendship. And, just kidding.
Jack, I'm with you. I noticed it the first time I watched it and it bothered me, but I was watching it with grandkids and the grandkids ate it up.
Oh, the kids loved it.
It was, yeah, they loved it and didn't notice anything about that. And ever since they've been like 3 years old, we don't call it hot chocolate. We call it hot chocolate. And
That's
so
good.
that's how they ask for their chocolate. Is their hot chocolate.
Yeah.
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 So that one has really resonated with them, but not
Yep.
as much with me.
Yeah, Rita, you need to unmute.
Go.
There you go.
Yeah. Has anyone ever heard of the movie called Up? It's not really a Christmas
Oh,
one,
yeah.
but
Oh, it's a great movie.
Wonderful movie.
That's a great
that's
movie.
one I could watch over and over because every time I watch it, there's something new that I missed. You know, and it's real heartwarming. Yeah.
It is.
A little bit sad in the beginning, but that's
If
okay.
you can get if you can get through the first 15 minutes, then
Yeah.
you're golden.
More than a little sad, yes.
Yeah, it's a good movie though. I really like it.
Yeah, it's well done. I
No,
particularly like the bird, but you know, it's all good.
The bird.
Kevin?
He's funny. He's funny.
Yeah.
Polar
No.
Express is motion capture.
Oh, motion capture.
Motion capture.
I have a lot of problem with stop. Is it stop action? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
like Gumby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
Gumby
what
kind of
that's
stuff.
what Rudolph is. It's
And
the
claymation.
stop motion. Yeah.
Or claymation or some of those. It just,
Yeah,
I
claymation,
don't
yeah.
know what it is. It's just a visual thing. And it's not that it's bad. It's somehow it distracts me from watching the show. I get
You-
fixated on the animation.
The
Try
technical.
one of the Wallace and Gromit ones. Just
Oh,
Oh.
I love
Oh,
this.
I love
Those are
I love those. Those
wonderful.
drive me crazy, but I love those.
Chicken Run is
so
that
funny.
way.
So
too.
funny.
Terrific.
Yeah, Chicken
Yeah,
Run is
I
good.
love them. But it's harder for me because I have to get past the stop action or the claymation or whatever. Although I am totally amazed that somebody can make a full-length movie doing that.
Right.
Does
mean, that's mind-boggling that they sit there on a set and move every piece infinitesimally every time
Mhm.
to make one guy walk across a room.
does
like
the animation on Nightmare Before Christmas, that stop
Yeah.
action? Does that
That
bother you,
is
Jack?
stop. Yes, that was exactly what I was thinking of, the Nightmare.
You know,
Before.
I don't know. I have to think about that.
It is
Yeah.
a stop action.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well done.
I'm surprised that no one mentioned it, and I have to admit, I saw it so many times that I got kind of sick of it. But the Jimmy Stewart,
It's a
Oh,
Wonderful
Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, I mean, it was on all.
Maureen watches it every year, and I watch it every few years with her.
I watch.
I like it very much. I think I've seen it too much at that.
Me
at this-
too.
Yeah. I was so
Mm.
glad when they started doing a Christmas Story around the clock, because I would always end up, last minute wrapping presents late at night, and I could put on a
Yeah.
Christmas Story and I didn't mind having it go a couple of times through.
And you can drop in on it anywhere, right? It doesn't matter what's
Yeah.
Well, other
anybody
than
Red
watch-
Ryder BB gun.
other
Did
than
anybody
wishing
watch-
everybody happy holidays and letting all of you people know that our Christmas cards are done, stamped in the envelopes
Oh.
and ready to go out
Oh,
on
you're
Thanksgiving.
terrible.
And
hate you.
all of our presents are purchased and on Thanksgiving weekend will be wrapped. And it's kind of, I mean, you guys got to know this is true. You're talking to a guy who has the entire schedule for retirement boot camp out through next August.
Oh my
Did you say anal retentive?
You got to know
Jack?
when I do things. My grandkids now say to me, "So what year did you buy this gift you're giving us this year?" But they like the gifts. They like the gift.
That's funny.
So yeah. So all I have to do now is wait for Maureen to write in a few of the cards, and then we're done. So
Oh, that's amazing.
any rate, happy all of those holidays, including the one we've been talking about tonight, Christmas. great movies, really great movies. And there were some really unusual ones I learned about tonight that we're going to add to the list. I will send out the links that I have for the Finnish movie to all you guys, because it sounds really, really pretty good. And it reminds me of one that we didn't talk about called Claus, which has kind of that same story of carving wood and stuff and becoming Santa Claus and that kind of stuff. So any rate, and I see Love Actually is coming up in the chat now. Of course, I was waiting for that one to happen. In our family, that's a love-hate. Maureen and I love it. Our children hate it. So
It has
maybe
its
they're
bad
just-
moments.
they're
There
too
was-
young.
But Alan
There was
Rickman
one
is
from-
once again wonderful, and so is Emma Thomas, and
And-
I mean, who can not like Rob? Oh, what's his face? Dancing, the Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah, Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah,
And Bill
Hugh Grant
Nye.
dancing and getting
Yeah.
caught dancing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cindy.
There was a movie last year that was released on streaming, and that was one that was mentioned. It was Will Ferrell, and it is kind of a Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his co-star. Was it Ryan Reynolds? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was. I thought it was excellent. It
And
was.
Octavia Spencer is in it too.
I think it's called A Christmas Spirit, maybe, or
Or Spirited.
Spirited. I think that's right, Maureen. And I don't
Was
know
that
whether that's
Netflix
gonna be-
or?
It came out last year, so I don't know if it's gonna be released on a wider basis this year. Because it was pretty select last year on the streaming
Is that
channel.
Netflix, Maureen?
I'll check.
She has an app that tells you what every show is shown on
There's
in
an app
terms
for
of.
that.
Love Actually, when I was talking about what made a Christmas classic, that was the other movie that they talked about. That was the last, those two movies were the last two
It's
that they
streaming-
felt like and
Yeah.
but they said Spirited, had it been released in a movie theater, probably would have been considered a classic down the road. So
It's
maybe
Apple. It's Apple TV.
Is it Apple?
Oh, it's
Okay.
Apple. Okay.
Any other comments? All right, thank you all for participating.
you.
I really
Thank
enjoyed
you,
it.
Jack.
Next
was
time we'll
fun.
watch
Next
a
month.
real movie. I promise.
That
Have a
was good.
wonderful weekend or week, guys, and good weekend, and enjoy yourself. And have, if I
you.
don't talk to you, have a great Thanksgiving.
You
Thank
too.
you.
You
You too.
Bye-bye.
Good one.
Bye.
Bye.